Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Betty Brosmer, born August 6, 1935, is an American fitness expert, author, and former model who rose to fame in the 1950s as one of the most iconic and successful pin-up girls of her time. Known for her impossibly curvaceous figure, notably her 18-inch waist, and girl-next-door beauty, Brosmer became the highest-paid pin-up model of the era and appeared in countless magazine covers, calendars, and advertisements. Early life and modeling career. Betty was born in Pasadena, California, and showed an early interest in fitness and athletics. By her teenage years, she had already begun modeling, and a photograph submitted to a national contest brought her widespread attention. She soon became a sensation in men's magazines, gracing the covers of Modern Man, Photoplay, and Glamour, among others. Her image became synonymous with the idealized 1950s feminine form, small waist, full bust, and curvy hips, a look she maintained through disciplined fitness routines, which was unusual for women at the time. Unlike many models of the era, Brosmer retained full rights to her photographs and refused to pose nude, a decision that set her apart and contributed to her lasting legacy. Marriage and fitness advocacy. In 1961, she married Joe Weider, a prominent figure in the bodybuilding and fitness world and co-founder of the Mr. Olympia competition. After retiring from modeling, Brosmer transitioned into the fitness industry, working alongside Weider to promote health and bodybuilding. She co-authored numerous books and articles on fitness and became a vocal advocate for women's health and strength training. She also contributed to Shape magazine and other health publications, using her platform to empower women to embrace strength and wellness. Legacy. Betty Brosmer is remembered not only for her iconic beauty and success in pin-up modeling but also for her pioneering role in the fitness world. She helped reshape attitudes about women and weight training at a time when such ideas were radical. Today, she's recognized as both a glamour icon and a trailblazer in women's fitness. Betty Brosmer later became known as Betty Weider, and she continues to be respected for her contributions to health, fitness, and the evolution of body-positive imagery. Early years and entrance into modeling. Betty Chloe Brosmer was born on August 6, 1935, in Pasadena, California. Raised in Los Angeles, she showed early signs of athleticism and discipline, engaging in sports like weight training and hiking from a young age, interests that would later define much of her adult career. Her family supported her ambitions, and by the age of 13, she had already done professional modeling work. A pivotal moment came when a photograph of her taken during a family trip to New York was submitted to Modern Screen magazine, launching her modeling career. By her mid-teens, she was already a popular photographic model, appearing in catalogs and advertisements across the country. Pin-up stardom. In the 1950s, Betty Brosmer became the quintessential American pin-up model. Her hourglass figure, reportedly 381836, and wholesome yet glamorous look captivated millions. Unlike many of her contemporaries, Brosmer took control of her image, carefully managing her contracts and the rights to her photos. She was known for her business savvy and insistence on professionalism. Betty appeared on over 300 magazine covers and in thousands of layouts, including Photoplay, Modern Man, Pageant, Picture Parade, and True Romance. She was often compared to Marilyn Monroe and Jane Mansfield, but unlike many of her peers, Betty refused to pose nude, a boundary that limited some opportunities but helped preserve her brand and enduring respectability. Fitness and the Weider partnership. In 1961, Betty married Joe Weider, a Canadian bodybuilder, publisher, and entrepreneur who had co-founded the International Federation of Bodybuilding and Fitness, IFBB. Their partnership proved revolutionary. While Joe promoted male bodybuilding and launched the careers of stars like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Betty focused on women's fitness. Together, they built a health and fitness empire, publishing magazines such as Shape, Muscle and Fitness, Flex, and Fit Pregnancy. Betty wrote regular columns and became a vocal proponent of fitness for women at a time when resistance training for females was widely discouraged. Her focus was on promoting strength, confidence, and health over simple aesthetics, a stance that helped change cultural perceptions about female fitness. She also co-authored several books with Joe, including The Weider Book of Bodybuilding for Women, The Weider Body Book, Better and Better Later Life and Legacy. As Betty Brosmer Weider transitioned out of the spotlight, her legacy only grew. She played a crucial role in bringing women into the fitness conversation and was instrumental in destigmatizing female weight training. Some key elements of her legacy include pioneer of body positivity. Before it had a name, Betty encouraged women to appreciate and enhance their natural strength and beauty, emphasizing discipline and wellness over crash dieting or cosmetic alteration. Successful career transition. From modeling to fitness publishing, she evolved with changing times without losing authenticity, a rare feat in entertainment and media. Role model for women in media and business. Her refusal to pose nude and her assertiveness in managing her brand set new standards for female autonomy in the male-dominated modeling industry. Fitness advocate for women. Long before the fitness boom of the 1980s, Betty was already championing the importance of strength training and healthy living for women of all ages. Cultural impact. Though perhaps less widely remembered than Marilyn Monroe or Betty Page, Betty Brosmer's impact is arguably just as significant, especially in the realm of health and fitness. Her influence continues through publications, online archives, and a strong presence among collectors and fans of classic pin-up art. Betty has also been recognized in bodybuilding and fitness circles as a pioneer, and she's often cited as one of the women who helped create the bridge between vintage glamour and modern wellness culture. Her famous figure in the impossible waist, Betty Brosmer's physical appearance became a subject of fascination. She was known for her dramatically exaggerated hourglass shape, particularly her 18-inch waist, sometimes reported as 19 or 20 depending on the source, offset by a 38-inch bust and 36-inch hips. This waistline wasn't the result of surgery, which she never had, but of a combination of genetics, consistent weight training, healthy dieting, occasional use of waist cinchers, not extreme corsetra. Her look defied conventional norms of the time and even led some people to question whether her images were retouched. In truth, her figure was authentic, and she was intensely disciplined about maintaining it. She was often referred to as the most perfectly constructed woman in the world. Brain, business mind, and feminine agency. Unlike many women in the 1950s modeling world, Betty was a savvy businesswoman. She retained the rights to her images, which was extremely rare. She refused to pose nude, even when it meant turning down major magazine spreads. She set boundaries with photographers and publishers, which led to respect and longevity in an industry where many models were used and forgotten. This agency made her a feminist figure in hindsight, even though she never aligned herself overtly with feminist movements. She simply lived on her own terms and refused to compromise her values for fame. Red Heart marriage to Joe Weider. A power couple in fitness. Joe Weider wasn't just a famous bodybuilder, he was an entrepreneur and publisher who helped transform the bodybuilding world. By marrying Betty, he not only gained a life partner but also a co-visionary. Together, they promoted the careers of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lou Ferrigno, and Frank Zane. Launched several magazines, including Shape, Muscle and Fitness, and Flex. Advocated for gender-inclusive fitness, urging women to build strength and confidence. Betty wasn't just behind the scenes, she was writing columns, helping with photography, participating in editorial decisions, and publicly representing the brand. They remained married until Joe's death in 2013, after more than 50 years together. Books and writing career. Betty was an accomplished writer, known for making fitness accessible and empowering for women. Some of her best-known works include The Weeder Body Book, a comprehensive guide to strength training and nutrition for both men and women. The Weeder Book of Bodybuilding for Women, one of the first widely published fitness guides specifically for women. Numerous articles in fitness publications like Shape and Muscle and Fitness. Her tone was encouraging and down-to-earth, aimed at real women, not just athletes or celebrities. Biceps' impact on women's fitness culture in the 1950s and 60s. Women were discouraged from lifting weights. Myths prevailed, like the idea that lifting would make women bulky or manly. Betty was one of the first mainstream figures to dispel these myths and show that strength could be feminine. She promoted weight training for women, healthy eating over fad dieting, balanced workouts, strength, flexibility, and endurance. Mental well-being as part of physical fitness. She paved the way for later icons like Jane Fonda, Denise Austin, and Jillian Michaels. Classical building recognition and honors. Though Betty Brosmer remained somewhat out of the Hollywood spotlight, her contributions have been recognized in Bodybuilding Hall of Fame, indirectly through her work with Joe, women's fitness history retrospectives, countless photo and pin-up art exhibitions. Enthusiast forums and classic model communities. To this day, she's cited as one of the most photographed women of the 20th century. Receipt. Notable quotes by Betty Brosmer. Here are a few quotes that capture her mindset. Fitness isn't about being better than someone else, it's about being better than you used to be. I wanted to keep my modeling clean. I didn't want to be seen in compromising pictures that I wouldn't be proud of later in life. There's no shame in working hard for beauty. What matters is that it's yours and no one else's idea of it. And today, and her enduring influence now well into her 80s. Betty has mostly retired from public life, but her legacy lives on in fitness culture, especially among women embracing weightlifting vintage modeling communities, where she's considered a queen of the classic pin-up look body positivity movements. She represents both natural beauty and self-discipline. Many see Betty Brosmer as a bridge between the glamorous, highly stylized femininity of the mid-20th century and the health-conscious, strong, and independent female ideal of today. Cultural context. 1950s America and the rise of the pin-up. To understand Betty Brosmer's significance, you have to place her in the cultural climate of the post-World War II 1950s. The war had just ended, and American culture was refocusing on domesticity, glamour, and prosperity. The pin-up girl evolved from wartime morale booster into a pop culture staple, not just in barracks or lockers, but in mainstream media. Stars like Betty Page, Marilyn Monroe, and Jane Mansfield embodied different aspects of feminine appeal, but few were as wholesome yet sensual as Betty Brosmer. Where Page offered edgy, fetish-inspired imagery, and Monroe personified sultry vulnerability, Betty Brosmer gave America the perfect American girl: curvy, healthy, modest, athletic, and self-possessed. Film frames, media appearances, and commercial work beyond magazines and pin-ups. Betty also had a robust career in commercial advertising. She was featured in print ads for brands like Kodak, Playtex, Pepsi, Catalina Swimwear, and General Electric. Calendars and booklets. Her images were wildly popular among service members and collectors, often appearing in fitness-themed or cheesecake-style publications. Television. While not a major TV personality like some of her peers, she made occasional appearances and was known in Hollywood social circles. Her ability to project both sex appeal and girl-next-door charm made her highly marketable to a wide audience. Dancer the myth of the real-life Barbie due to her extraordinary proportions. Some media outlets and fans dubbed her a real-life Barbie doll, a title she neither encouraged nor disavowed. In truth, Betty's body was naturally curvaceous, due to her genetics, maintained through disciplined fitness and diet, even before the general public embraced gym culture helped slightly by waist cinctures. Though never extreme corsetra, unlike many models who chased trends or relied on Hollywood's plastic surgery boom, Betty kept her body natural, a fact she remained proud of. Camera photography and her signature poses. Betty had a remarkable ability to work with the camera, often using side poses with exaggerated S-curves to emphasize her hourglass-shaped classic pin-up motifs. Beachwear, sporty outfits, lingerie, always tasteful, playful but poised expressions, combining approachability with allure. She often worked with top photographers of the day, including glamour legends like Keith Bernard and Peter Gowland. What set her apart was her ability to remain visually striking without vulgarity, a quality that made her an icon for both men and women. DNA influence on future generations. Though rarely in the spotlight today, Betty Brosmer has had a profound, if understated, influence on modern women in the fitness and modeling spheres. She paved the way for fitness models like Rachel McLish, Corey Everson, and Dana Lynn Bailey, who blended strength with femininity. Curvy models and body-positive influencers who challenge narrow beauty norms. Modern pin-up revivalists, especially those in retro, burlesque, or vintage cosplay communities. Even her styling, high-waisted bikini bottoms, curled blonde hair, structured lingerie, is frequently mimicked in vintage-themed photography and fashion campaigns. Headstone life after Joe Weider's death. After Joe Weider passed away in 2013, Betty chose to remain mostly private. She has not remarried and rarely makes public appearances, though she is occasionally spotted at fitness events, bodybuilding tributes, or historical retrospectives on Vintage Glamour. Despite stepping back from the public eye, Betty's legacy has only grown thanks to the internet and the resurgence of interest in classic pin-up culture, natural beauty standards, women's historical contributions to fitness and modeling. She is revered on forums, collector groups, Reddit threads, and vintage modeling blogs as one of the most iconic, respected, and original beauty figures of the 20th century. Repeat button comparison with her contemporaries. Name signature look. Known for Betty Brosmer hourglass figure, athletic, classy fitness pioneer, highest paid pin-up model Marilyn Monroe blonde bombshell. Vulnerability acting, Hollywood icon Betty Page brunette bangs. Fetish-themed shoots cult figure in alternative modeling Jane Mansfield curves and overt sex appeal films and scandalous press Mamie Van Doren blonde, sultry, Monroe-esque acting in nightclubs. Betty stood apart because she never fully entered the film industry, avoided scandal, and later pivoted to fitness and writing, staying relevant long after the pin-up era faded. Scroll key milestones in Betty Brosmer's life. Year milestone 1935. Born in Pasadena, California 1949, began modeling professionally in her early teens. 1950s, became the most photographed pin-up girl of the decade. 1954, appeared in Photoplay, Modern Man, and hundreds of calendars. 1961, married Joe Weider, shifted focus to fitness and publishing. 1970s to 2000s, co-authored books and contributed to Shape and Muscle and Fitness. 2013, Joe Weider passed away. Betty retired from public life fitness philosophy ahead of its time before the aerobics craze of the 1980s and long before "strong is the new sexy" became a mainstream phrase. Betty Brosmer promoted a balanced fitness philosophy that emphasized strength, self-discipline, and femininity. Core principles she lived by: consistency is key. She didn't believe in extreme diets or temporary training bursts. Fitness was a lifestyle. Strength is beautiful. Betty was a pioneer in resistance training for women. Decades before it became common. Mind-body connection. While she didn't use the exact language of modern wellness culture, she advocated for the integration of physical fitness with mental well-being. Individualized goals. She warned women against chasing unrealistic ideals and encouraged them to find their own best self, not someone else's version. She was especially vocal in challenging the old-fashioned belief that women should avoid weights out of fear of becoming masculine. Her own physique was proof to the contrary. Person lifting weights her personal training regimen. Though Betty never published a full daily log, interviews and articles from the 1960s and 1970s offer insight into her regular fitness routine, which included weight training 3 to 4 times per week using light to moderate weights to tone arms, legs, and abs. Walking and hiking, preferred over intense cardio. She loved the outdoors and promoted natural movement. Waist exercises, such as side bends, twists, and sit-ups, long before core workouts became trendy. Yoga-style stretches. She incorporated flexibility routines to maintain her posture and range of motion. She also followed a healthy, whole food-based diet, focusing on lean proteins, fresh vegetables, and minimal sugar. She was against starvation diets and believed in fueling the body for performance and beauty alike. Camera with flash behind the scenes. Modeling with integrity. Betty wasn't just a model, she was a pioneer in modeling ethics and self-ownership, especially for women. Here's what set her apart. She chose her photographers and often helped guide the image selection process. She wrote and signed detailed contracts. Many photographers at the time gave no credit or pay to their female subjects beyond a single session fee. She insisted on modesty even when others said she'd be more successful with nudity. Her line, "I would not do anything I wouldn't want my future children to see." Because of these standards, she had fewer controversies but also a longer and more respected career. Handshake relationships with other legends. Betty wasn't isolated, she moved in Hollywood and fitness circles. And her work overlapped with some major names. Marilyn Monroe. Though they never worked together directly, Monroe's bombshell appeal often led to comparisons. Betty was considered the cleaner, more athletic counterpart to Marilyn's sultry mystique. Betty Page. They were in different lanes. Betty was edgy and underground, while Betty was mainstream and athletic. Yet both represented different facets of mid-century femininity and later became feminist icons in their own right. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Introduced to America through Joe and Betty Weider, Arnold has often acknowledged their role in shaping his early career. Betty even appeared in some early muscle and fitness spreads with Arnold. She was also known for mentoring younger models and women entering the fitness world, offering advice on both business and body image. Blu-ray continued presence in pop culture. Even though Betty Brosmer hasn't made many public appearances in recent decades, her image is still widely circulated. Retro-themed fashion brands often use her imagery as inspiration.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching.